Hello and welcome back to our Portuguese adventure. Now we're moving into Central Portugal, and along the way we saw these hardy pilgrims following the Fatima path this time. And now we're going to take you to Coimbra, Roman city.
Just outside Coimbra there is the remains of a Roman town. It's one of the largest in Portugal, with a population of around 10,000 people. It's very well preserved apparently. We'll start off with these mosaics. Aren't they incredible? These are the shops. It said they were dedicated to commerce and handicraft. Look at this mosaic. It could have been laid yesterday.
This is the house of the swastika mosaic. The house dates to the 1st century. The outer ring of mosaic dates to the second half of the 3rd century. Soon after that, the house was demolished. Of course, it wouldn't be a Roman settlement without a bathhouse. I really don't think that hot tub is original. So we found this using the Atlas Obscura app. So we're walking down to the southern baths across what appears to just be heathland, but clearly there's areas in here where the village just continued to extend. Sorry, town. Sorry, city. And here we have 2 layers of bathhouse, the first layer being constructed in the 1st century, and then the second layer around about 98 to 117 AD. There was also an area for sport and recreation. The city is built along the edge of a valley, giving it really good protection. We also found evidence of Iron Age construction, dating back from the 4th century. So here we have the area of the Forum, the very centre of the Roman city. It's absolutely huge. Right
next to the Forum are the remains of pre-Roman urbanisation. And right next to the Roman remains is the village. People have been living here since, well, pre-Roman, and they're still living here today. One of the things the Romans did so well was plumbing. This is the water tank where they stored the water that came in via an aqueduct to the town.
That aqueduct was 3 kilometres long. The Great Imperial Wall had an average thickness of 4 metres. It was built around 270 to 275, so around about the end of Roman occupation. They were clearly feeling stressed. The Roman road connected Lisbon to Braga and came through Coimbra. This stretch remains well preserved.
We have been to a lot of Roman remains, as you can imagine. This is the most incredible place we have been to.
Isn't this valley view stunning? I also think it's a good opportunity to mention that when we came into Portugal, did a lot of research about driving in Portugal, and we were told it is absolutely essential that you purchase some form of paying for tolls. We opted for a automatic system. I'll put a link in the description. But so far, we have not driven on a tolled road in Portugal. Yes, it takes a little bit longer, but you actually see where you are and you see the villages, and it's just a lot more interesting. It was quite a mountain road, but then that seems to be the way that it goes. But what a nice spot. It's about 18 degrees up in the mountains. Well, we're in Vila del Rei. What an incredible place. The campsite, well, the camp area here is provided by the town and is free. You even got free electricity. There's all the services you'd need. It's a bit on a slope, but we actually used levelling blocks last night. This has been a lovely park up.
It has been incredible. If you were to come here, I would thoroughly recommend the barbecue restaurant in the village. It was so good and ridiculously cheap. We had 2 main courses, a bottle of water, half a litre of wine, bread, olives, and a coffee. And it was €21.50.
£18.67.
The half litre of wine was €1.50. It was
great.
really good.
We continue on the road, and you know what? Thank you for being here and watching us. If you haven't subscribed, you know the drill. Please subscribe. Maybe give us a like, and we'll see you at the next place. Proof that we don't have blue jobs and pink jobs. Errol just seems to get wet. So given that today's weather is ideal for a nice viewpoint, we've come to the geographical centre of Portugal at an altitude of 592 metres, latitude of 39 degrees 42 north, longitude of 8 degrees 8 west. The tower here stands 9.1 metres, 3.25 metres at its base, and from here we have an incredible view. I mean, even today you can see the weather, can't you?
It's a bit evil, isn't it? Beautiful nonetheless.
Luckily not too windy, and I think Claude is really looking forward to driving back down the hill.
It was very steep. He's going to get some breakfast in a minute.
You could smell the pine forest, especially after last night's rain. Obviously it's woken everything up. What a beautiful place. The drive from that amazing park up was quite epic again. These mountains and mountain roads and gorges, just superb. And then of course the towns. Every zebra crossing you stop at.
This Templar castle was originally built in 1162 for the Knights Templar. After they were suppressed in 1319, King Denis transferred it into the Convento de Cristo, allowing the Templars and their assets to remain there. The building has undergone many changes since then, particularly in the 16th century, so that little remains of the original castle. Nevertheless, it's a very beautiful building.
I'm not going to lie, that was a horrendous, 240 kilometres from Tomar to Evora, and for some reason I thought we'd set it off tolls and motorways. We ended up on the toll roads. So the first one we went through, automatic charge lane, because we'd set it up. Still haven't seen the charge come through, and that was about 3 hours ago on the bank account. So the second toll we came to, we took the ticket, got to the end. I think the journey was about 80 kilometres, €26.20 for a class 2 vehicle. And it wouldn't take our bank cards and it wouldn't take the contactless. Luckily we had the cash. We're now in the town of Evora, and we're in a bit of a rush because the museum that we are going to closes at 6 o'clock and it's just gone 5. So we'll pick you up there. If your guidebooks tell you Evora is flat, I suppose it's relative, as in this is not relatively flat. Will we have got to the museum in time? Will they let us in? The Cork Museum was absolutely fascinating. It's incredible that this natural resource is still being used today to make corks and many other materials. Well, we're in Evora and our smashing park up. It doesn't look much, it's just a car park and no services, but right on the edge of the town. Now, the town of Evora might not look much at first glances, but I think you have to give it a little bit of investigation. It's a really historic place. The Moors, the Romans, the Portuguese. Very interesting. So top marks for last night's park up, free of charge. Thank you very much, Evora, for the space. So, with thanks to Find Me Gluten Free, we're rather hoping that we've found a pasteleria that serves gluten-free cakes. What could be more perfect on a Sunday morning? I apologise for the very squishy, squashy shot. It's very squishy, squashy in here. But there we have. We have a convento di crato, which is, I'm imagining, I haven't quite got in there, but it looks like an almond cake. And then
Nuts and honey.
melinoff, which is nuts and honey. And of course, a little coffee. It is Sunday morning, so of course it's traditional to go for pastries on a Sunday morning, and it is absolutely packed. The traditional narrow streets that are a feature of this town are protected by law, cultural heritage. Although the cobbles do really hurt your feet. In Portugal, you'll often see buildings with yellow. Yellow is considered to be a colour that opposes evil. I have a real thing for doorways. Isn't that door incredible? Here we have the Basilica Cathedral of Our Lady of Assumption. It is the largest medieval cathedral in Portugal and was built between 1186 and 1250 on the site that was previously a mosque. Just behind the cathedral is the Palace of San Miguel, dating back to the 13th century, and an incredible view over Evora. So Evora is also famous for the remnants of a Roman temple. At first glances yesterday, when we arrived, we thought, oh, what's this?
I know.
Didn't like it at all. And having spent last night wandering around, and then today, you can buy so many products made out of cork. It's absolutely amazing. And they are so beautiful.
Somewhere down here is a gluten-free restaurant. To start, bread, olive oil and some charcuterie. Yum! And it's all gluten-free.
The menu here is incredible and everything on it is gluten-free. So Darrelle had it was a chorizo which had been breaded, and they said it was love or hate. Well, we hoped it was love, and it was okay. And I had the most amazing date, ham and goat's cheese salad.
We visited the museum in Evora, where they have recently discovered some Roman burials. The most interesting thing for us, though, was the Roman inscriptions that were actually faked and from the 16th century. These were deliberately created to make a history for Evora. Such an interesting museum.
To conclude our time in Evora, we spent a lovely hour and a half at the Ervidera winery and a wine tasting. Such a lovely array of wines from the local area, and they've been making wine since 1880. We also learnt about licores, which is the equivalent to port, although not made in port, so made using the same method, and that was very nice too. We've seen so many storks and stork nests up on the highest heights. So one of the features of the Alentejo area is the cork trees and the cork harvesting. So these in front of us are cork oaks. Most of the cork estates are private, so you can't actually get in, so I'm doing this over a barbed wire fence. But if you can see the tree immediately in front of us, you will see the line on the tree where the bark has been harvested to, and you will see a number on the tree. The bark is harvested every 9 years, and there are strict protocols that dictate when they can harvest and at what age they can start harvesting. It's all got to do with the circumference and the height of the tree. And then they will harvest. They harvest manually using an axe, and they peel the bark off the tree, making sure not to damage the membrane of capillaries that feed the tree with water, because if the tree dehydrates, the tree will die. The cork is then taken, it's bundled up, and it goes to auction. Once the new purchaser of the cork has got his cork, they will then boil it. They boil it for about an hour, and then the cork is pressed to make it flat, and it can then be processed into other things. The harvest in this area starts at the end of May, running through to the end of July, beginning of August, and that's because up until the end of May they're subject to May storms, and then once you get to the end of July and into August, it's just too hot and it risks dehydration for the trees. Quite often they will graze animals amongst the trees, mainly sheep or cows, and of course in the winter, pigs. So the other thing that the area of Evora is known for is their cromlech and their menhirs. So these are prehistoric dolmens. There is also a stone circle. All right, Claude. Hold on. Hold on to your onions.
Yeah, look at it. Good job we decided not to drive any further. It's definitely not Claude suitable.
The Almendres cromlech is the largest megalithic monument in the Iberian Peninsula, being amongst the first examples of monumental architecture in Europe. It consists of an organised group of around 100 menhirs, 95 survivors, located in a dominant relief over the Evora plain. I am so pleased that we followed the signs and climbed the long rugged path to the cromlech del Almendres, built 7,000 years ago. So our park up for a couple of nights actually has been here at Evora Monte. We are on our way now It's almost the last stage of our Portuguese journey as we move through central Portugal and over towards Spain. Such an incredible view. So we had a bit of an edit day today. We were very lucky with the weather here, and it's time for Claude's sticker. It's taken quite some time for it to be dry enough. And so we move on. We're now in Elvas at Camping Piedade, about a 15-minute walk into the town. Great little campsite, all the facilities that you need, although check if there's a Fiesta on. So on this tourist map you can see the shape of this city, and I've also borrowed from the internet an image which shows you the aerial view of how the city is laid out. Elvas has always been a frontier town, a garrison town. Its origins were Moorish, lost to the Portuguese in 1166 but recaptured in 1226. Its military formation, its current format, is thanks to later changes between the 17th and 19th century. It played a significant part in the Napoleonic Wars. It is the best surviving example of the Dutch school of fortifications.
Elvas is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, of course.
It's a little bit like a huge life-scale game of Carcassonne, where you've got cities, citadels, valleys, rivers.
How many points are you going to score?
Depends how many farmers I can get out there.
If you come to Portugal, I do want to recommend that you try this. Pedras Limão. They do it in different flavours. I haven't tried any of the other flavours yet, but it's really delicious.
So sadly, our time in Portugal has come to an end. And I have to say, it's been really good fun. There are a few things that we would like to share with you about our experience in Portugal, and things that might help if you're planning on coming here. The first thing that I would say is that it probably took us about 2 weeks before we started to get a feel, because it's very similar to Spain, but it's not the same. The siesta hours don't seem to exist here. They tend to take an hour for lunch. It may just be the time of year, but eating out in the evening wasn't too much of a thing. The restaurants seem to close by about 9 o'clock. The language looks very similar to Spanish, but the emphasis is different. And quite how they get queso out of their word for cheese, I really don't know.
If you're not going to travel by motorway or toll roads, expect the roads to be very hilly and quite challenging. Look out for the N roads. They are the old national roads and will take you through the villages. And whilst we're on the subject, do make sure you stop in the villages. They are really the heart of the country. Expect May to be wet. Apparently, May is the month of storms. Barbecue restaurants. They are everywhere and they are absolutely worth stopping at, especially if you can find one that is in a village, may not look anything special. Give it a go, you'll be amazed. Everywhere is very hilly. If you go into a village, you'll be walking up hills, up steps. Be prepared for that. It is hard work at times, but worth it when you make the effort. I have absolutely loved Portugal. but only in the last couple of weeks as we've got to know the place a bit better. So we definitely will need to come back here and explore a bit more.
We really do hope that you've enjoyed our Northern and Central Portuguese videos. We've certainly enjoyed making them, although this last one was a bit of a pain because we had some issues with audio on the camera, so apologies for that. Do keep on following along with us as we now go back into Spain. See you on the next one.